Also mentioned she was still frustrated from her powers in the first 2 films, and he said he didn't trust the film to remember that because it felt like a different continuity altogether. But it is the exact same issue, which ended openly in the second film where she's still going to touch Bobby, and here she's bothered about that and complains about it. Similarly, that she just can't handle it anymore not to touch him. And the connection is very obvious, and saying you don't trust the film to have continuity and therefore not accepting continuity, thereby not seeing the whole story, is not accepting one element because you don't accept another. That's domino effect. It's basically saying this film is a flaw, and therefore this is a flaw, and this is a flaw. So his complaint in the review that it looked like she was doing it for Bobby isn't true. She simply doubted it a bit. She isn't in denial, and she has grown. And he also complained she didn't consider the gifts of her powers, that she should have considered it. Well, it is simply too painful to be an issue. Again, I wouldn't have an issue with taking an anti-OCD cure. Then we have the issue of Bobby, that she's supposed to be in the right, even though he doesn't cheat on her, and what it is presented as is not a little flirting. They show that she's jealous because she's troubled. They focus on her pain because she cannot touch him. That's understandable, not justified, because she takes the cure, and she doesn't break up with Bobby, and he also complains love triangles are overused, but any element in film can be said to have been used many times. Films often have a lot of original elements, but all films also have some elements that are at least all at their core, and just saying something as a love triangle is overused is like saying friendship is overused, villains are overused. But when something is deep, it is worth using many times, and love triangles are a real part of romances. He complains she doesn't talk rationally with him before she does it. Well, because it is a really private and personal choice, and it's really stressful, something very difficult choices we sometimes need to make on our own. Again, I wouldn't discuss this with anyone else, I think. It's really your own business. It's like getting an operation to finally be able to walk or something. It's just your business. Also, people complained it was wrong of her to take the cure because she had a special power that made her capable of special things. Yeah, and she couldn't do the most basic things, like touching people, because of it. That's horrible. And someone said it was a bad example for kids to show when you don't like something about your body, you can change it. She had a handicap. Her body was really abnormally functioning, and it robbed her of the most basic human joys and bonds. That is what medical science is for. That is what the right to choose over your own body means. And it is easy to judge someone with someone with no disabilities. As someone with OCD, all I can say is shut up. You don't know what it is like to be different your whole life, to be insulted and alone. And come on. Those that cannot walk have operations, so they might be able to do so. And if there was a means to cure blindness, you would have the right to take that. Yeah. Oh, I just got a letter from the Pro-Choice Club saying that this is why I should agree with them. No! Why do they keep saying that the fetus is a part of a woman's body? It is simply dependent on her. It isn't a part of her body. By the way, I know that this has got nothing to do with the review, but no, dependency even on a body does not have anything to do with unity, being a part of the body. Anywho, Storm in this film is more worried, warmer, friendlier, sweeter, more optimistic, still tough and brave, and Captain Logan complains it makes no sense that Xavier wants her to leave the mansion, and she comes off as a control freak because of her acting, but how someone sounds doesn't decide what kind of person they are, acting doesn't define characters, and action the words do, and throughout this and the first films, she led many expeditions, gave good suggestions, and comforted people, so she isn't a control freak, but a good leader. She's warm and makes smart decisions, like deciding to keep the mansion open, and comforting that people could stay there, and holding a heartfelt speech, and trusting a Nightcrawler to go to Cerebro. And she's fitting to lead the mansion. How would you feel if I said you were a dumb critic because I don't like your voice? Yeah. Iceman is warm and helpful, friendly, caring, understanding, sad, brave and optimistic, comforting, and also somewhat insulted sometimes and worried, and a bit controlling. And Kitty Pryde is brave, tough, helpful, friendly, sad, witty, homesick, unconfident, a bit love-struck, and somewhat somber. Cyclops is depressed, sad and angry, still very underdeveloped. Pyro is violent, sadistic, loyal and arrogant, determined, tough, self-confident, and very aggressive, and very voyeuristic. And Mystique is sadistic, playful, loyal, and also very vengeful and disloyal when Magneto betrays her, and very sad and very hard-working and very relaxed and jokey. And Jean Grey in this film is confused, lustful, playful, wild and intense, and grows to become destructive and insane. She's also angry and scared. She gives into her destructiveness, killing Cyclops, and at first gets back in control, but she allows her power hungriness to take her over and gets convinced Xavier wants to control her and becomes lustful and wants to date Wolverine, and he tries to convince her she needs to give her lustfulness up, and then instead of allowing him to help her, she goes back to her house and feels lonely and thinks that he wants to control her instead of helping her. She wants to indulge in pure destruction, including her own, gets convinced no one loves her, and then she kills Xavier and joins Magneto, but still thinks that she might care for Wolverine, and Magneto feeds her ego, but she becomes all the more dangerous and unstable, almost harming Magneto, and at the battle, when they shoot at her, she gets even more destructive, and then Wolverine makes her realize this is only hurting her, and he cares for her, and she allows him to stab her. Hey! Her incinerating people gave me an idea. She should team up with me and Talia. Anywho, Magneto really completes his arc from the first two films. Now he hears of the cure, he becomes afraid humans want to force it on the mutants and wants to once again commit genocide, and he wants to act violent and takes mutants on for his cause, and he wants them to help protect them from genocide, but he also wants to force all other mutants to stay mutants against their will, and he becomes violent and believes in their superiority. He now becomes really arrogant, believing mutants to be gods and believing all humans to be insects, and really suppressive, wants to force mutants to stay mutants, and he abandons Mystique when she is turned human protecting him, and then becomes overly ambitious when Jean seems to become very powerful and loses Xavier, yet continues to become more cruel and violent and feeds Jean Grey's ego and causes the danger and extreme killing of loads of people and by Jean Grey, and once again starts to attack them and kill many of them himself, and wants to kill an innocent kid, creating terrorist attacks and recruiting Jean Grey, who destroys many people, and becomes very abusive, using fellow weaker mutants as pawns in a chess game. He really becomes pure evil, and then is taken out and becomes depressed, because he now realizes that he's like one of them, and that he will be insignificant, and now is reduced to being very weak and a regular human after he indulged in all of his mutant powers hurting others. But he is somewhat hopeful for the future, having his powers maybe back. So he really becomes what he thought, being prejudiced, cruel and oppressive, and then sees himself being turned human and becomes even more depressed. Good. I need my ally back. But that wasn't a joke. And he can be an ally of the Nazis. People of Jewish blood who said Judaism was a religion were part of the Nazi party, and that went... okay. Knock knock. Who's there? That's me. That will be $18. Keep the change. Hi, Ducky. Let's just go to the next scene, okay? Yeah. Beast is great. He's calm, caring, helpful, moralistic, cautious, jokey, brave, and straightforward, and also very self-confident. And Angel is insecure and silent, yet also proactive, caring, and headstrong. And Matthew complained he did little. Well, yeah, he was a bit character who showed why the cure was made and how it affected him and many people. Bit characters are normal. Look at Finding Nemo or the guy who blackmails Bruce in The Dark Knight. You know that Reese guy? Yeah, he was in like, what, 3 scenes? And then we have the tone. Captain Logan complains it feels really different from the first 2 films, so much that it doesn't seem to take place in the same universe. But we still have a world of intolerance and division, we still have ambiguous conflicts, serious characters, dark death scenes, and he complains there are many underdeveloped mutants. But that is natural, as it is a war now, and they're secure, so way more mutants are threatened, so it becomes a bigger conflict. He complains they get irritating one-liners, but only a few get a few. And there are a few over the top, but only a few, and appropriately in action scenes and funny moments, like in the first 2 films. He complains they don't explain why there's a danger room. All because we can understand why it is, so that they can train. We just didn't see it because we didn't see them train before. We haven't seen all parts of the school, and of course they build new things. Such obvious things don't need to be explained. They also didn't explain in Star Wars Episode 5 The Empire Strikes Back how they got such a big fleet or how they got tauntauns. They don't explain why there's a sentinel in the danger room. Well, it is something they either thought or was an invented program, and it's important to know why. Yes, they haven't used mutant caste systems before because they didn't encounter such strong or so many mutants. The world changes and we don't learn everything the first time. This is natural and doesn't require explanation for every single small thing. This film is a lot more epic, huge, and more plot and theme driven and less character driven than the first two films, so it's a bit different, but in a natural way, because it's a bigger conflict, and it is different but not that inconsistent, because the changes make sense, it is fresh, and it still has the mood of the seriousness, realism, and ambiguity, and social analysis of the first two films. So it is fresh and true to the roots of the series. It has a dark tone with some nice light touches, fitting the dark but optimistic story, and all around it is very well balanced and makes for a very dark but somewhat occasionally relaxing film. It again combines many genres: political thriller, character drama, morality play, action, superhero, and science fiction. The film is very well paced, with always something new happening, while still having enough character development and especially themes. It also having action and a lot of drama while taking its time to be funny. Like me, who is constantly hilarious and smart. And you better agree, because you don't think the fact I'm drunk makes me incapacitated, do you? And in fact, I'm not even that drunk anymore. By the way, why did I quit doing that again? It was probably for a stupid reason. I'm gonna get a nice beer soon. Yeah. I stopped drinking, but then I forgot why I stopped drinking, and I realized if you forgot what happened around the time you were drinking, it probably wasn't a big a deal, so it's safe to continue. Because whenever we forget something, it's for the right reasons. Right, Wolverine? So the dialogue is again really natural and deep, with lines like, "I'm your father, not your friend." And Rogue is surprised that Wolverine tells her to do what she wants and not to unpack, indicating Wolverine trusts her to make her own decisions and wants to support her to be herself and doesn't want to make those for her. "And I'm sorry, but you're not one of us anymore." Reflected how Magneto thinks in terms of groups and not people, and sees such a simple line between mutants and humans, believing that when a mutant is forced to become human, even a close friend, that he abandons them. And in chess, the pawns go first. Reflected how Magneto treats people as chess pieces to be used in his cause, really thinks of ideas more important than people. Oh man, okay, you know the drill, like me. I need more beer. Hey guys, I want you to know I love you. I love you. I do. And I'm sorry I rickrolled you. Yeah, that was me. And don't let it control you. Reflecting how Xavier wanted Jean Grey to be wise and not be controlled by her powers, and really was concerned for him, and saw that one of the most important things was not destroying others and not destroying yourself, not allowing rage to take you over. How much he valued that. And now that was what he controlled Jean Grey for. Yeah. And you have no idea. You have no idea of what she's capable of. Reflecting, Xavier is afraid of Jean because she is so ultra-powerful. Thus a cautious person takes the risk of her power seriously. And you are right, Charles, this one is special. Reflecting how Magneto is now interested in Jean Grey and thinks Xavier was right about her and really values strength more than wisdom. He says it mockingly while being critical of how he underused her, indicating he thinks he underestimated the meaning of his own words because he underestimated the meaning of power.